Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for coming to our webinar today. We're just going to give a couple minutes to have more attendees sign up, and then we'll start. Hello, everyone. Good morning from Chicago. We're so glad that you have been able to join us today. Welcome to our MEDICAlliance webinar. My name is Norma Singh. I am a project manager at MEDICalliance North America, involved in the organization of Meditech, and I will be your moderator for today. MEDICalliance North America, in collaboration with Invest in Bogota and SPI Americas, will present a 1-hour webinar in which we will bring to you an overview of the Colombian market in general and of Bogota in particular, as well as details of business and investment opportunities and regulations for the medical industry and life sciences sector. We have a very well-versed panel of speakers today, which we will introduce accordingly. Our webinar today consists of 3 presentations, and we will be having a Q&A segment at the very end. Therefore, we ask you kindly to please write your questions in the chat, and we will get to them at the end of the webinar. Also, for your convenience, this webinar is being recorded and will be available later to you via a link that we will send to you. For our first presentation, we have the collaboration of Francisco Solano Olarte, Senior Investment Officer at Invest in Bogota, who will be giving us a general overview of Bogota and Colombia and investment opportunities in the life sciences sector. Francisco has a BA in Government and International Affairs and an MA in the analysis of political, economic, and international problems from Externado University in Bogota. He also has more than 10 years of experience in the Colombian public sector, especially in international and public affairs, where he worked in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Colombia, the Presidential Agency for Overcoming Poverty, Prosperidad Social, and the Mayor's Office of Bogota, among others. Thank you, Francisco, for joining us from Bogota. Please take it away with your presentation.
Thank you, Norma, and thank you, Mesa Dusseldorf, and of course, thank you, SPI Americas, to help us deliver this message. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone in the webinar. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for having an interest in Bogota, having an interest in Colombia. I'm sure, and we're very sure from Invest in Bogota, that your next investment will be here. I wanted to start my presentation with a small video about Bogota for you guys that maybe don't know about our city. If you can help me, please, with the video.
Hi, let me show you a special place. I'm going to talk to you about that place in Latin America, the capital of Colombia. That country you might have heard mentioned in the news and in the movies. That country has now changed. And its capital, Bogota, well, it's what makes it shine even more. Bogota is a big city, and I mean big because there are more than 11 million of us. We have big dreams, projects, and companies, as well as big festivals and big mountains. We also have big talent. We are the region's entrepreneurship capital, the continent's new business hub, and a UNESCO City of Music. Because on top of being kind and friendly, every day our people show their ability to work on innovative and creative ideas that transform the world. Today we are ready to keep growing and welcome other great companies so that we can do things better together.
In the last few years, we've received over 1,500 foreign companies.
Such as Scotiabank, Medtronic, H&M, Amazon, L'Oreal, and Diageo, amongst others, that through their capabilities, technologies, and by generating high-quality employment, have helped the economy to keep growing so that more companies, tourists, and students come to Bogota. And like all good Latinos, we know how to enjoy life.
The best Latin nightlife and live music, world-class restaurants, 6 open-air festivals of different music styles, professional film, music, arts, fashion, and food markets.
Hey, because here we call chicken soup ajiaco, cheese buns almojábana, and buses, well, Transmilenio. I would like to show you more things, but I know you don't have that much time. That's why I'd like to invite you to discover more about us and see that what I'm telling you is true.
That's in the words of those who dare to do business with us.
Those who set out on an adventure to explore, discover, savor, and have fun in Bogota. We are here to help you set up in Bogota, succeed in business, and discover the huge opportunities that the city holds. And this is our team. Say hi, guys.
The best partner you can find.
Well, that was a small taste of what Bogota is, or what we want to offer. But of course, we want to talk a little bit about, first of all, who we are at Invest in Bogota. Of course, tell you a little bit more about how we are a dynamic economy and a regional business center, and then we'd like to delve a little bit more into maybe some data that you might be interested in from Bogota and from Colombia. So first of all, I'd like to introduce ourselves. We're the relevant investment promotion agency for Bogota. Uh, Specifically, what we do is that we bring here companies such as you to invest here and to help you soft land in the best way possible to help develop your investment project here. We also have the Bogota Convention Bureau, which is an agency within ourselves that promotes events from all parts of the world. Our purpose, like I was saying, is to facilitate relevant international investments. And to do so, what we do, and I'm going to change here this. Oh, okay, no, sorry. To do this, what we do usually is provide first with general information and tailor-made information to our clients, which will use them for developing their investment projects. As well, we help you engage with public and private stakeholders, which they can help you to develop your project as well. For example, from the part of the public stakeholders, we can connect you with local and national authorities because we work as well very hand in hand with ProColombia, the investment promotion agency of Colombia. And as well, we connect you with different firms that can help you develop your business, such as maybe law firms, maybe human talent firms, accountability firms, and such. Everything we do is absolutely free of charge. We do not charge for what we do. Um, because we are part of the mayor's office of Bogota and the Bogota Chamber of Commerce. So the city pays us to help you get here in a much easier way. Just so you can see a small sample of the businesses we've bring here to Colombia. We've brought here to Colombia. You can see big players such as Amazon, B. Brown, for example, from our sector, that are actually here right now and have huge investments in Colombia. Since 2007 we've supported more than 500 projects. We've brought here to Bogota more than 3.7 billion USD in investment, and we've helped create more than 76,000 employment opportunities here. So, to talk a little bit about Bogota and Colombia in the economic sector, well, Colombia still boasts a robust and a stable economy that outpaces the growth of its counterparts in the region. Growing at a steady 1.7, and Bogota growing at a 2.8 percent. Thank you. Just to show you a little bit about how big the Bogota economy is, Bogota's economy is much, much bigger than Costa Rica, than Panama, than Uruguay, than Paraguay. And that is because Bogota is home of most of the businesses, be it national or international, of Colombia. Just to show you a little bit more, the average economic growth of Bogota has even surpassed the one of Colombia and of Latin America, of course. The Bogota region also has the strongest GDP per capita in the country, and it's the 33% of the whole Colombian GDP. Just to show you a little bit, as you can see, well, we've recovered substantially from the pandemic. As you can see, of course, in 2020, the dip and the recovery, not only of Colombia, but of course of Bogota. Bogota improving the numbers of Colombia. And as you can see on the right of your screen, the main activities here in Bogota are specifically services. Okay, Bogota is a services focused city that is continually growing in that sector. And I'm going to talk about a little bit more in our section of medical devices. Just so you know, Bogota region holds most of the exports of Colombia, and also it's the largest consumption center in Colombia. Um, just to continue here, Bogota, as I was saying before, it has most of the foreign companies established in Colombia. The Bogota created in Bogota where created the most of the companies last year, an average, almost 100,000 of them. And of course, more than 400 of these companies are in the Forbes 2000 companies list. Just to talk about a little bit about what's happening here in terms of security, because maybe most of you haven't been here to Bogota, and of course we're not. We know perfectly about what happened in the past year in Colombia and the development in security that has taken place here. Just so you know, well, 4.6 annual average decrease in homicide rates steadily. The security increase has increased more than 80% in the last 10 years, and of course, not only in the physical side of security, as well in cybersecurity. Colombia is one of the first countries in the world to enact a specific law on cyberspace. For example, we have the honor of being the third in Latin America in the ranking of ease of doing business. And of course, this is seen from the Colombia side, but of course, Bogota has reduced kidnapping cases and terrorist acts in a strongly and swift manner. So just so you know, when you're coming to invest here, you're doing it in the most secure place possible in Colombia. And of course, we'd like to show you should you come here in a later date. Just to show you, in Bogota region has received 738 new and expansion FDI projects worth of 9.8 billion between 2018 and 2022. Most of them, as you can see, from the United States, and most of them, of course, from the software and IT services sector. And just so you know how strong Bogota is in this FDI as FDI recipient, 55% of all the projects received by Colombia were established here. Just so you, I'm going to talk about how Bogota is a strategic location in the center of the American continent. Um, I don't know if many of you have it in mind or not, but Bogota is smack dab in the middle of the Americas. Okay, um, one of our greatest advantages is of course El Dorado Airport, which is the first airport in cargo transportation in the Americas. I'm going to show you here that even more so than Benito Juarez Airport and Guarulhos International Airport, um, El Dorado Airport is the leader in cargo movement in the Americas. Just to tell you a small anecdote. Um, just in Valentine's Day in February, we exported more than 444 million flowers to United States only on that day, only through El Dorado. Just so you know. Um, just to show you as well how Colombia is connected to the world, we have 18 free trade agreements and 18 international investment agreements, also 15 double taxation agreements, which would help your business to maybe expand from Bogota and from Colombia to other parts of the world and reach them very very successfully. Just to show you a little bit about our human talent, of course, here in Bogota, there are more than 6 million people ready and prepared for the labor market. This is, well, we're the fourth city in the region, but of course, compared to other cities and countries, we're fairly competitive in that sense. Of course, we have two of the best universities in Latin America. That is the Nacional University and the Andes University. We have here in Bogota 35% of the active research groups in the country. 39% of the country's PhDs are here in Bogota, and of course, 35% of the country's technologists and technicians are here as well. And well, I'm going to show you a little bit and a glance of what's happening here in the medical devices sector. Um, just so you know, some of the main data and something that we want you to take from this presentation is that 10% of the sales in Latin America of medical devices are made here. Sorry, in Colombia. Okay, something that actually is very positive for companies such as yourselves is that 81% of the market is imported here to Colombia. So there is huge growth potential to sell in the Colombian market and as well to Latin America. Colombia is the third market as well for medical devices after Mexico and Brazil. The sector is expected to grow at an average 7.18% all through 2026. In the last 6 years, also 14 FDI projects have arrived in Bogota, uh, in an average of $91 million. Of course, 2019 presenting a huge spike after the pandemic stroke, um, and most of them came from Germany. Some of the biggest brands we have here in Colombia are Baxter, BSN, 3M, Fresenius, and B Brown. Fresenius and B Brown specifically here in free trade zones that we have here in Bogota. And well, 601 companies that manufacture medical devices are here in Colombia, and 275 companies that manufacture medical devices in Bogota region of that total. Just to show you a little bit about how the market moves here in Colombia in the medical device sector. Most of them are single use devices, then orthopedics and prosthetics, and then diagnostic images. In the exports, the first country where we export is Ecuador, and then the United States, Mexico, Peru, and Nicaragua. The main exports from Colombia to these countries are plasters and bandages, and other surface preparations, washing and cleaning preparations. In the import side, well, the top five import countries are the United States, China, Germany, Korea, and Mexico. Most of them coming from Asia and North America, as you can see. And the most present import here in Colombia are other diagnostics or laboratory reagents. This is something we like to show because among Hispanic America, Bogota is the second city with the lowest operating cost for medical device sector. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to come here, invest, and well, reduce costs in that manner. Okay, thank you very much. This was my presentation. Of course, I'm open to any of your questions. We're here to help you get here to Bogota to understand the market better, to maybe get to know the city and the country in a way that enables you to bring your investment projects here. Thank you, Norma. I'll give it to you.
Thank you so much, Francisco, for that very insightful presentation. We remind everyone that questions will be addressed at the end of the webinar. So if you have any questions, please text them in the chat. Now we're going for our second presentation. We have the collaboration of SBI Americas with the presence of Alvaro Rincon, General Manager, and Isabel Sanin, Regulatory Affairs Director, both of whom will be diving into the topic of business opportunities from a regulatory standpoint. SBI is a consultancy company in Colombia specialized in regulatory affairs, intellectual property, and corporate law. Since 1993, they have been supporting companies with soft landing in the region in a variety of activities such as contracts, trademarks, and health permits in Latin America. They have ample experience in all regulated sectors with special emphasis in life science products, and most importantly, their experience with companies of all sizes gives them a better approach in resolving all sorts of situations. Our first speaker, Alvaro, has 35 years experience helping companies set up business in Latin America with an emphasis in life science products and companies, and manages operations involving these activities in the region. Alvaro is today graciously joining us all the way from Athens, so thank you for that. Our second speaker, Isabel, is a bacteriologist with a Master in Sciences, and she has more than 20 years of experience in regulatory affairs and quality assurance, with an emphasis in life science products for Latin American countries. Thank you, Alvaro and Isabel, for being here today, and take it away with your presentation.
Okay, so greetings. I'm in Athens. Greetings to everybody. good morning, wherever you are. And thanking Mese, thanking Francisco, and Invest in Bogota. I, I I was told not to open the camera, but we have an internal policy to at least for 1 second to open it. So I'm gonna close it just right now. So let's hit the road. So SPI has been in the market for 30 years, and our main idea is to support companies doing businesses and protecting whatever they want the companies have, either trademarks or permits and so on. We do it even though we're located in Colombia. We can help you out around the world and with more specifically in Latin America. Until today, we have helped in obtaining more than 14,000 health permits, marketing authorizations, trademarks, patents, and so on, not only in Colombia, as I said before, but also in more than 120 countries of the world. These are our three main pillars of activities with no specific orders. We can help out any company wishing to do business in any activity that are here on this graphic. So now we're going to dip in what we call regulatory considerations. First of all, in Colombia, we have an authority which is INVIMA, the equivalent of FDA in the States or the Anvisa in Brazil. Maybe you've heard about it. We follow regulations, and here the most important thing is that we follow the European Medical Device Directive, not the new one, but the 43 of 92 still. That means that we classify medical devices for the case accordingly with the risk, and there are activities that need to be performed after obtaining permits. These activities are related with reports. Always, the device has an alert, a global alert. It's necessary to conduct an activity here, and so on. And the last item of this slide, alliances. When we move to the next slide, you'll see Colombia is member of the Andean Community of Nations, and for the case, regulatory speaking, we have a harmonization for cosmetics and home care products. We are also founding members of the Pacific Alliance, which the most advanced chapter of regulatory affairs is the pharma chapter, although I must say right now is that it has stalled, it's stopped due to political reasons and new changes. You know, we have a new government now. Chile has a new government, but at the end of the day, they're working on developing ways to conduct regulatory affairs on a regional basis. Not now, not yet. Again, the most advanced part is pharma. And then we have the Acapulco Declaration, which goes further down of the Pacific Alliance, where they're starting to set up a model of working in order in order that regulatory affairs is not a roadblock for importation and cross-selling of goods in all of the countries. It's still on its works. So this is not yet in activity. Okay. In Colombia, for you as foreigners, good news, well, very good news. You may own registrations from abroad. You don't need to incorporate. You don't need to give authorization to a distributor to own the registration, and you do not need to hold or to use a holding service of registrations like in many of the countries of Latin America, number one. Number two, it is acceptable here in Colombia to cover under one registration either families of products or systems of products. And it all depends on a few things that you, as you must know, is that the considerations are the intent of use, and if the components for the case of families are basically the same. Uh, it, those considerations are needed in order to have a successful regulatory procedure. Here you can look. You can You can include codes, part numbers, SKUs, as many as you have. We also, for example, recommend our clients, look, you develop new SKUs, whatever you have planning to sell in the future, include them so you don't need to modify a registration. That it helps a lot to be more efficient. You can have multiple importers, you can have multiple brands, and again, as I said before, you don't need hosting services like in other countries of the region. The registration system in Colombia is very, very lean. If we provide complete documentation, we comply with all of the requirements, the process of submissions will lead to an acceptance of the registration. And depending on the class risk, this acceptance, you make the submission first. Depending on the class risk, we have two types of registration systems. One, which is automatic. That means that if the documents are okay, a registration would be granted and the evaluation would be performed afterwards. Or in the case of high risk devices, the process is a previous study is made. If according to the study, documents are okay, the registration would be granted, and you will have what it's called a health permit, in Spanish, registro sanitario. Requirements are basically the same common requirements for any type of medical device. For example, if you have a sterilized product, you would require what the procedures of sterilization require, testing, and so on for the sterilization. That's an example. Okay. This is a common question that we get every time. How much time would it take for me to obtain a registration, and what is the validity of the permits? So again, we strongly we have a differentiated between class risks. For low class risks, class 1 2A, the process, once submitted and accepted a submission, is from 30 to 45 days. This is because INVIMA has suffered a few setbacks in the past months, and it has gotten worse, but 30 days is not bad at all. For high class risk, for 2B is around 100 working days, and for a class 3 is around 180 working days. For pharma products, it takes more than 2 years. For cosmetics, 10 to 15 days, and for dietary supplements, around 1 year. And then to the right, you can see the validity of the registrations. Again, here, you as foreigners can own the registrations. You don't need a hosting service, nor you need to authorize your importer. You can do it if you want, but there is no need. Okay? Be advised of one thing, that registrations are subject to be modified. For example, you have importer A today, you appoint importer A, and tomorrow you decide to appoint a new importer, importer B. That can be done via a modification. You don't need to obtain a new permit. You can modify the existing registration. That is why we recommend that you own the registration, because if the market demands more of your products, and maybe your importer does not want to to go ahead and go to another zone of the country, you can appoint a new one. This is another common question that we have here. These are the official payments that you would need to make to INVIMA. Our fees, we would gladly give the information to you if you request them, but this is an idea of the cost of registrations. In Colombia, one big recommendation for medical device businesses is that Colombian importers must comply with a local rule. If tomorrow you contact a Colombian importer or a Colombian importer contacts you, the first question that you must make them is, do you have the license, which in Spanish, the acronym would be CCAA. CCAA is a license that is required for all importers. If they don't have it, you have to add an extra 6 months approximately to your business project, because that is the amount of time it takes to obtain the CCAA. Also in Colombia, you can organize, for example, you send products, devices that have by any chance a mistake on the labeling, whatever, you can obtain authorizations to exhaust inventories and so on. You can obtain certifications. If you plan to do advertising, normally either you would need to obtain a prior permit, or you can do the advertising without a prior permit. This is more for low class risk devices, but you need to comply with the rules. And then, as I stated before, you need to do some post marketing activities. For example, you need to set up a program of technovigilance, which is basically reporting on each queue, any activities or nothing that could have happened during the period to your devices, and then you need to report any global alert that your devices would have. This Israel calls it the snake. Not mattering how the way you look at it, this is the snake of tips. A successful regulatory activity for us is when all of the documents that our client provides us are correlated. What is this? For example, one of the requirements is to have a free cell certificate. The free cell certificate, the name of the manufacturer is A. The technical information, the letterhead of the technical information must be A as well. The power of attorney granted to our office must be of A. The letter of authorization to the importer must be signed by A, and so on. That is the correlation of documents. You can add all of the codes, SKUs, and so on. But for this, they must be included on the free cell certificate. If, for example, you have a third party who is your manufacturer, you would need to show this situation easily shown with us. We provide you with formats that you can use that have been proven to be okay with our authorities. And at the end of the day, it's to show that everything is correlated. Okay. Again, the success is the quality of the information, the detailed composition when it needs, and so on. And the process would flow easily. We hear sometimes that no, in Colombia, the process for a low class risk medical device takes a year. That cannot happen. At least with us, it won't happen. because what we try to do with our clients is to help them out to comply with rules, with all of the documents, with rules and regulations, and we do it on a timely basis. So we don't waste time. Okay. Uh, we need only the power of attorney. The power of attorney and the free sale certificates are the only documents that require to be legalized. You come from Germany, it's with an apostille. And one thing is that the free sale certificate and the power of attorney must be the original ones, not a notarized copy, because there's a common mistake that companies make is that they run a copy, they have it notarized, and they apostille the notarization. And what comes out of the apostille is that the notary public that stamped the document was a notary public at that day. And what INVIMA is looking for is to know that that officer of the health ministry was an officer that he signed the document. Okay. And official translations are basically for the free sale certificate and for the ISA, for the free sale certificate and ah, I, I don't remember not right now, but I'll remember in a second. Okay, vale.
Also for the certificates of analysis in some cases that are needed, and we need a legalization, we will need an official translation only.
Okay. Even though it's not regulated, it is not mandatory except for pharma products when they have a brand, a trademark. We recommend to protect your trademarks, not only in Colombia, elsewhere in the world, not only in Latin America. But it is not mandatory for regulatory affairs for medical devices for the case. I don't know if the audience is only of medical devices, but only for pharma branded products, you would require of an ongoing application, and the rest does not require for the registration purpose of trademark application. But we do recommend it. We can help you out with that. Also, whenever you have an agreement with your importer in Colombia or elsewhere in Latin America, the best thing you can do is to produce a document that would show the agreement that you have. You don't want to be in a to have a future headache because I thought that you were going to do this and I thought that you were going to do that. The best thing to sign an agreement. Something happened, Lisa? Hello?
Hola, health
Algo
permits.
pasó.
You can see the
Ah,
presentation.
sí, sí. Ah, sorry. Sorry. I didn't see the change. Okay. Uh, Another recommendation is taking into account that you can be owners of the registrations in Colombia. Be the owner of the registration. If you own the registration, you are free to move around. If you want to appoint a new importer or multiple importers or add new brands, new packaging, whatever, you can do it without any inconvenience. On the other hand, if the owner of the registration is the importer, you would need to talk to the importer, who would be the only one who could make the modifications of the registrations.
The other one refers to apply for your health permits and modifications of the permits with priority to be sure that when your product arrives to the country, everything is considered and it's approved into the registration, and you won't have problems at duties or nationalizing the goods.
Also, make the reports on time, have the information, have your importer to comply with rules and regulations, obtain proper authorizations or comply with regards to advertising. Those are very basic recommendations that would lead to have a swift experience in Colombia. And that's our presentation today. Thanking again La Mese, Invest in Bogotá. We're happy to assist you. We will be in Medica. Bobby is asking, at least we will be in Medica. Our team will be there. So maybe we can set up something.
Thank you, Alvaro, and thank you, Isabel, for your support as well. That has been a very interesting and eye-opening presentation, I'm sure, for everyone who's been listening. Someone asked if this presentation is going to be available afterwards. Absolutely. We're recording this live. Both the recording and the presentation will be available to you later. Now we're moving forward with our third presentation. So for our third and last presentation, we have the collaboration of Ryan Clem, Senior Business Development Manager at Messe Düsseldorf North America, the U.S. subsidiary of Messe Düsseldorf Germany, organizer of the MEDICA Trade Fair. Ryan will be talking to us today about MEDITech 2024, the 8th International Health Fair, which will take place from July 9th to 12th of next year. A native of the Chicago area, Ryan graduated from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign with a dual BA in German Commercial Studies and Speech Communications. He started his career in the trade show industry as a logistics account executive with DB Schenker fairs and exhibitions. Then he was recruited to Milwaukee as an exhibits manager with AEM, the Association of Equipment Manufacturers, organizer of Conexpo in Las Vegas and the association's International Pavilion program. Since 1999, he has been with Messe Düsseldorf North America and is responsible for the U.S. exhibitor contingents participating in the company's global medical, packaging, and foundry industry trade shows. Ryan, thank you for being here today. Please take it away with your presentation.
Hey, Norma. Hi, everybody. Thanks for the nice introduction. And also thank you to Francisco and Alvaro and Isabel, who provided the background and details about Colombia and its marketplace. So I'd like to get started here by introducing you to the MEDICAlliance Trade Fair family, member trade fair called MEDITech. Many of you are familiar with the annual MEDICA Trade Fair in Düsseldorf, Germany, and several of you are also acquainted with our other MEDICAlliance family trade fairs in Brazil, India, China, Singapore, and Thailand. MEDITech came into the family fold at the beginning of 2018, and so our first involvement with the strategic partnership occurred at its sixth staging. By that time, our partners Corferias already had succeeded to firmly establish the show as Colombia's flagship event for the life sciences, regularly attracting 200 exhibiting companies and around 10,000 trade visitors. Of course, no surprise, in 2020, the trade show was postponed, and then we eventually had to cancel it altogether because of the global pandemic. But in 2022, the show rebounded really well and exceeded our expectations, had a record-breaking 11,600 trade visitors, and featured 249 exhibiting companies, 82 from abroad. An important driver of this event is the co-located International Congress of Hospitals and Clinics, which is organized through the ACHC, which is Colombia's Association of Hospitals and Clinics, which further supports the attendance pillars of the show with a highly qualified gathering on site of C-suite executives and decision makers in attendance, including specialist doctors and biomedical engineers. Corferias has been around, our partner, has been around for over 60 years and is one of Latin America's leading trade show management companies, with its principal stakeholder being the Bogota Chamber of Commerce. This highly experienced and dynamic group of people itself provides over 30 trade fairs per year for various industries. And much like the business model of our company, Messe Düsseldorf, not only does Corferias produce these shows, it also operates the convention center in Bogota, which is over 500,000 square feet, 50,700 square meters. And they are also tasked with operating the event center at Puerto de Oro in Barranquilla at the Caribbean coast. So what is Meditech? On this slide, you can see the major themes presented on the show floor. Simply put, Meditech is built upon the same model as our other MEDICAlliance trade shows. So unlike other events in the United States which support specific market verticals, MEDICAlliance events are by nature patterned on the successful model that Medica uses, meaning that they are horizontal in nature and therefore offer a full overview of the life sciences sectors, which also promotes cross-disciplinary interactions. That's a useful, especially from a business angle, for supply chain and distribution specialists, such as regional dealers and distributors. It's a one-stop shopping experience, but also from the position of hotels, hospital executives, and decision makers and influencers to get a broad perspective of the marketplace and related technologies and services. Colombia itself has positioned itself over the past decades, as you previously heard, previous presenters have mentioned, Colombia is presented itself as a pragmatic, trade-friendly country, and in fact, those of us here in the United States of America, we have a free trade, bilateral free trade agreement in place with the country, and therefore, nearly all medical equipment exports to Colombia receive duty-free treatment. Additionally, exhibitors can also benefit from the fact that Corferias, the exhibition center in Bogota, is designated as a permanent special free trade zone, which means that exhibition goods that enter Colombia from abroad are under a suspension regime for the cancellation of taxes and other limits established for any import. Only with authorization of the Free Zone Administration, the goods can enter the country under customs supervision without paying taxes and without limits on commercial value of the samples being sent in. Really quickly here, a visitor profile for the show. It is by and large a show that is geared towards both practitioners and end users, as well as R&D specialists and dealers, distributors, and supply chain management professionals. As you can see, the split is nearly half and half, with attendees on the trade professional side of this pie chart identifying themselves from the following market segments: medical supplies and equipment, surgical, orthopedic, rehabilitation, and physiotherapy, clinical laboratories, hospital supplies and endowments, architecture, hospital construction and furniture, software and hardware, academic institutions, hospital management consulting and specialized publications, waste management, clean technologies, government entities, guilds and industry support associations, scientific research institutions, ambulances and transport equipment, special transportation services, banking and insurance, and pharmaceutical laboratories. So at this point, let's look at how to become involved at this trade show as an exhibitor. Like at all our events, exhibitors can book raw space or space with the various usual and customary stand design options that you can see here. These images are representative examples of the appearance, but can certainly also be personalized with specific company colors and branded advertising options. Alternatively, exhibitors can choose to book raw exhibit space and work with a private local contractor to build a customized booth. However, if you do that, you need to be approved by show management, by our office in Bogota ahead of time, and there are standardized procedures for that. The prices listed here are for raw space, $315 per square meter. That's the standard price, but if applications are received up until the middle of December, there is an early bird incentive price of $305 per square meter. The other thing I found, especially for international exhibitors, is making sure they're aware the registration procedures for the show are quite detailed and ask for a bit more information about the company and the person responsible who's completing the application than at any other trade show. The application itself is quite a few pages long, and there is an additional step after the application has been submitted, which is that each company needs to submit what is known as a company statement on its letterhead, declaring the signatory as a duly authorized representative of the company and primary contact for Meditech. And that has to be accompanied, if you're a U.S. company, by the tax form W-9, a photo ID, and a copy of the passport. And that's an unusual step for companies and individuals to take when applying for a trade show. But in this case, these steps are required by Colombian law because the government remains very vigilant against narcotics trafficking and money laundering. So these extra steps are for everyone's protection, and every bit of information is kept securely in compliance with prevailing Colombian privacy regulations. This is an overview of the Cofrerias Convention Center, along with a preliminary overview of the exhibition hall in which Meditech is held. Entrance in and registration is at the top of the page. You see it's called Entrada Sur. Entrance to the exhibition hall itself is at the center, left side of the blue hall, marked 11 through halls 11 through 23. The Green Hall is a separate trade fair. Odontotech, is an independently organized dental show held at the same time. The auditorium is directly across from the exhibition hall. That's where ACHC meetings are held. The orange area is a food court with various restaurants and seating. One highlight I'd like to point out, there is a group, if you see at the bottom of the screen there, it's called CEATH 2.0. This is a high technology experience center. It's a guided mock-up walk-through hospital clinic displaying the interconnectivity of medical equipment and technologies for patient care and treatment, from receiving areas such as the emergency room, operating center, and patient recovery and outpatient services. On the upper left side, you'll see the Hilton Cofrerias, which is also housing the Cofrerias show management offices, and on the ground level is the Exhibitor Services Center. So this is a picture. I actually took this picture last year. This is looking from across the street at the sort of into the main entrance area into the convention center. As you would expect at any world-class venue, our headquarters hotel is located directly at the fairground. It's a new Hilton with over 400 rooms, and we have negotiated special exhibitor rates, as you can see. There is a link that will be provided for those interested, but we also have expanded the net and via our recommended New York-based travel agency, TTI. We also will have 4 or 5 other hotels with room blocks and negotiated pricing available nearby. If you're staying downtown or elsewhere outside, hotels offer car services for hire at very reasonable rates, and depending on traffic, would take, perhaps a half hour to get to the convention center. You can contact your hotel down there to arrange that service in advance. So that's it from my side. I wish to thank everyone for their attention, and you can see my contact information here along with Norma, our moderator. So feel free to reach out to me or her directly if you have any questions or need any additional information. Make no mistake, this is a well-established trade show. Colombia is a hot market that has gained considerable attention over the past couple of decades, and the Meditech Trade Fair is the perfect complement to the MEDICAlliance family. So I would like to say thank you, and I'll turn it back over to our moderator.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you for that wonderful presentation. We hope to see many of you at Meditech after this webinar. We have now the Q&A section where we can address your questions. So feel free to type any questions that you have in the chat section. We do have a few questions already there. From Christopher Bricio, he asked, is the country president business-oriented in his policies, and what is the tax policies environment? Is it attractive for foreign companies to manage profits? So whoever
Norma,
wants to answer.
I think I can get that. Francisco here from Invest in Bogota. I think Alvaro just answered Mr. Bricio. Also, Mr. Bricio sent me a message through LinkedIn, and we're already talking. So I think we'll talk in a later moment. But just as Alvaro said, the actual government is business oriented. Still nothing changed on that. We're still very capable and very interested of receiving investment for an investment, please, if you'd like to have a conversation on that with us, with some data and with some arguments about it, not really what the media is covering at the moment, we'd love to do that. Also, regarding the taxes, we're still competitive, but as Alvaro says, we'd have to see each of the segments of each of the businesses to see if it does make sense for you to come here.
All right, thank you, Francisco, for that. Our next question is from our representative from Poland, Düsseldorf, Poland, Agnieszka. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She asks, when starting a business in Colombia, is it better to look for a local distributor, for example, in Bogota? Does this increase the exporter's credibility, or is it better to take care of exporting yourself, having a production company in Europe? The costs of export handling are probably different in both cases. Is it possible to cooperate in English or Spanish language, or is Spanish recommended?
I'd like to take this one too. I don't know if maybe Alvaro and Isabel want to jump in as well. But just to answer briefly, Agnieszka, in our experience, it would be best for you guys to have a business here, a representation of your business here, and that business has a person that can speak either both your language, be it maybe German, English, or whatever language, and Spanish. Okay, it will be better. It will be more versatile to deal with anything that jumps here, be it commercial or maybe regulatory or anything. So we would recommend that you open an office here.
Okay, thank you, Francisco. Next question. Do I have to pay for the support of Invest in Bogota?
Oh yes, I'll answer that. No, as I said during my presentation, we do not charge for our services. Every single bit of help that we offer to our clients or to the businesses that want to come to invest here is absolutely free. We will not charge you anything at all, and of course, we will have all of our information and our tools at your disposal.
Thank you, Francisco. Next question. Are there any special financial supports available to US-based companies?
Well, I'll take that question myself. In the United States, I can't necessarily speak for other countries, but if your state may have access to something called STEP, State Trade Expansion Program funding, that's administered to each state by the Small Business Administration. And it is possible, if you contact your state economic development agency, they may have STEP funding that they have at their discretion to assist you with expanding your export operations, which could include participating at trade shows. It could also be something such as translating your product literature to Spanish. So it's definitely worth checking with your local state trade export agency to find out if that's possible. And I know Messe Düsseldorf North America has some of this information on file. We do kind of track who is managing those funds, so you can always contact me and we can try and help get you pointed in the right direction if you're interested in that program.
Thank you, Ryan. A next question also for you is, what is included in the e-gold, in the gold, silver, and bronze packages?
Yeah, sure. The gold package that you saw on the screen comes with an information counter. Yeah, thank you. This particular gold package here, an information counter with storage and digital printing of the company name logo, graphics that are supplied by the exhibitor, and get a high table with a glass top, 3 adjustable bar stools, trash can. We provide wall-to-wall laminate flooring, overhead signboard with digital printing of your company name or logo, back wall panel with digital printing, a side light box, as you can kind of see there, decorative planner, overhead fascia with LED spotlights, a brochure holder, and the electricity. So it's really quite a nice package. And we have information about this. So if you are interested, send me a note and we'll be happy to provide you with the specific details of each of the packages.
Thank you, Ryan. This next question is for Alvaro. Can foreign companies be owners of the permits in Colombia?
I think Alvaro is having some problems with the microphone, but yes, as Alvaro told in the presentation, foreign companies can be the owners of the permits in Colombia. You don't need a local representation or you don't need a local company here. Just the importer. The importer is mandatory. So we must have an importer which has a certification by INVIMA called CCAA, as Alvaro told you. But the foreign company can hold the registration.
Thank you, Isa. Next question. This one is for Francisco. Can you provide examples of successful cases of companies that have been interested in medical devices in Bogota?
Thanks, Norma. Yeah, as I was telling during the presentation, we have two of the biggest players out there, and it's B Brown and Fresenius. Actually, Fresenius and B Brown are two of our most recognized businesses that are working in a free trade zone here in Bogota. That means that they mainly use Bogota as a hub for distribution, especially towards the rest of Latin America. And they've been here for a while now, for a very long while. So they've been very successful here.
Thank you, Francisco. Next question would be for either Alvaro or Isa. Is it required to apply for a permit for each model or reference, or can I group families?
Thank you. We can group families or systems depending on the intended use, the composition, and the risk of the devices. Normally, all the devices must be in the same risk, have the same intended use. For example, for orthopedic or replacement parts, it's needed that they are for the same anatomic part, like hip or lower members or upper members. But yes, we can make groups or families or systems to apply for a registration, and it's not needed to apply for a separate registration for each model.
Thank you, Isa. One last question for Francisco. What are Bogota's main advantages for medical device business?
Thanks, Norma. I would have to say that since most of the medical devices market here in Colombia depends in an 81% of imported medical devices, I would say that the main advantage to invest here is that you will have a big market to start your business and to permeate. Since a lot of what we use here is imported, any company that wants to sell here would have great advantages to get the market and to improve, not only to sell here, but also to sell to the rest of Latin America, as Bogota is a big opportunity to become a hub for distribution on the rest of the continent.
Thank you, Francisco. So that was our last question. That brings us to the end of this webinar. We want to thank you all for being here today, and especially for our speakers and for my colleague Inga, who has been behind the scene and made the operation of this webinar possible. As a reminder, this webinar is being recorded and will be available to you later. We will send you all a link so that you can see this presentation or download it. And we want to wish each and every one of you a great rest of your day and a good weekend ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all.